March 1st, 2015. What an absolute fudging car crash. It's a day the job as a prison officer changed for me and a lot of other people. And it had been happening throughout the prison service for about 2 years. One day, surely one day can't make that much fucking difference. Absolutely it can. Question, subscriber question. After your injury, could you have gone back to work? So, September the 4th, 2015, got injured. September the 5th I was in work, because that's what we did, you see, prison officers. Lots of people out there like that. I got injured in a control and restraint. My shoulder come out of socket, felt really bad, extremely painful, didn't sleep, went to work. A nurse, bless her, when I asked for some tablets, that's what I'd done. Did a few bits and bobs. She says, why are you here? That was the day before my annual leave started. I filled the accident book in. Accident book, if people don't know, never worked in industry or whatever, should be one everywhere. If you're in an accident at work, you fill it in. Much detail as possible. She made me fill it in. And that was it. I was on the sick. That's September the 4th. Let's go back to March the 1st. Yeah. In fact, we'll go back before that to a conversation I was involved in. I was invited into workforce modernisation and benchmarking. Those little phrases there, a lot to answer for. Whoever came up, or if the prison service as a whole, or as a strategy, came up with benchmarking and workforce modernisation, really wants bending over a table and, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I'm invited into a conversation. There's a group of people on the healthcare. That's why I worked. Healthcare, just a wing. It was a hospital wing at Strangeways. Maybe a different layout, and we had nurses working on there permanently. But just like every other wing. Oh, sometimes I forget to mention this. At that time, we had 2 Cat A prisoners. So Strangeways is in the high security estate. Yeah, it's a prison that can hold category A prisoners, the highest risk of prisoners, deemed by the Home Office, the police, and a whole host of other people. So we had 2 Cat A, so I was invited over. So there's a group of guys in suits. There's a governor I knew from Strangeways. Mr. Samworth, very formal. Can you tell me and these guys here, yeah, why you need prison officers on the healthcare? So those that have been with the channel a while, I'm telling you, this is a unit. It had some extremely dangerous people on there. We always had people on unlocked protocols, which means they only came out on their own when there's a number of staff there, because they were that dangerous. That's for their safety, staff's and everybody else's. And we always pretty much had a category A prisoner. So a prison governor, who I knew from Strangeways, asking me to explain to this group of guys. One of them apparently was an ex-governor of Strangeways. He was right up himself in. Why we needed prison officers on there. So me, in my best Yorkshire twang, without stating the obvious, I says, well, for one, we've got a Cat A, 2 Cat A prisoners on here at the minute. This is in the high security estate. We've got people on unlocked protocols. We have some of the most dangerous, you've heard me go on with my rants, some of the most dangerous prisoners in the prison or in the prison estate on here. Yeah. Perhaps that's why we need prison officers. So this guy who used to work at Strangeways says, I don't see where you're coming from. I says, I don't see where you're coming from. I said, see the nurses on here? How would they work, go about their duties if prison officers weren't here? How would they get prisoners out? Yeah. The other thing is, the nurses aren't CNR trained. Yeah, they didn't get involved in control and restraints, you know, when there were scraps, interventions and the like going on. Cut a long story short, this group of guys were pig ignorant. Our governor, who was involved in bringing benchmarking and workforce modernisation Strangeways, you know, he would later spit his dummy out when people said, "You're a dick, you know, because he was part of that. He didn't like that, went off crying somewhere. You know, take it on the chin. You're involved in some shite like that. You take responsibility for it." The other governor was pig ignorant. They were all pig ignorant. And it weren't going to make a fuck's difference anyway, because it had already come in other prisons over 2 years, and it had been a fucking car crash. Plenty of them, you know, on their arse for staff and the like. So what exactly was benchmarking and workforce modernisation? It was reducing staff. That was basically what it was about. People in the past hadn't understood what I'm going to explain to you now. Yeah, and all these things happened that I'm going to tell you about on March the 1st. Yeah, at Strangeways, prior to March the 1st, i.e. February the 28th, 24 hours, that's all before, we were approximately 80 staff short in the prison. That doesn't mean all officers. There might have been some OSGs, operational support grade. There might have been some office staff. But the majority of shortfalls were in prison officers. 24 hours later, March the 1st, we weren't short at all. New ways of working. So them 80 staff, nobody was made redundant, but they're gone. We're not short. I think we were 12 or 13 staff over what we needed. You see where I'm coming from now? They've done away with those staff. The other thing that happened on March the 1st, yeah, this is, again, more genius from whoever decided this at Strangeways, yeah, the greatest security move ever. They decided on March the 1st, not only was workforce modernisation, benchmarking coming in, they were going to move the geography of the prisoners. So at that time, G-Wing, which was the induction wing, and the wing was laid out ideally for an induction wing, was going to become A-Wing. I can see the reasoning. A-Wing was close to reception. So at night when prisoners were coming in, it was a shorter journey to A-Wing than G-Wing. We can see that one. Was there any reason to move the rest of the prison population? No, there fucking wasn't. But they did. They moved lots of people about, and this is the best one. This is, you know, genius security move. The Cat A unit at Strangeways was a small unit, yeah? And opposite it, because the wing was split in half, so the Cat A unit is here. There's a sterile area where prisoners can't get. Sterile area in the middle of the wing. I'm going to walk to the top of the field where it's a bit sheltered. Stephen, come on. The other side was VP prisoners, vulnerable prisoners, sex offenders, rapists. Now, does anyone think a category A prisoner or any prisoner come to mind is going to have dealings with rapists and paedophiles? No, they're not. So what you've got is prisoners actually forming part of security for the Cat A unit. Because you've got Cat A unit here, isolated, VP prisoners opposite. March the 1st, yeah, let's move them VP prisoners from opposite the Cat A unit and put normal location prisoners there. Boom! There you fucking go. Security overnight gone. Phones, drugs, you name it. Every time I went on that wing, what used to be the VP side, that was normal location prisoners, there was prisoners up to the gates, talking to the Cat A's, passing stuff through, whatever. Yeah? Later, somebody had a genius idea of putting VPs back opposite Cat A's. But at that time, no. That was a security faux pas. Stephen, what are you eating? Get your ball, come this way. Come on. Oh, it's wood. You're not right. Lie down. Have a lie down. Sit down. Yeah? So, this is all happening in one day. People like myself were concerned there'd been overtime because we used to work overtime and make your money up. Overtime never stopped. There's always going to be overtime in the prison services. Now, probably work whatever you want. Probably work 100 hours a week if you wanted. It is flat on its arse. So we've moved the geography of all the prisoners. Not only did they move all the prisoners, the geography, you know, VPs moved them off, moved the induction wing. Some knobhead also decided we're going to move all the staff because somebody from outside the prison, Investors in People Gold Award, Strangeways is the first prison to get that. Yeah, so that was an award. It's about dealing with people. It was a prestigious award. You know, the governor, when we got that award, was impressed. Anyway, these people had a bit of a say, and, you know, they were prison officers on D-Wing who'd been there 13 years. That's not good. They need a change. Guess what? Prison isn't like other industries. Yeah? D-Wing probably had 6 staff who'd all done 10 years on there. They knew each other. They knew how the wing ran, and it worked well. Yeah, fuck that. Let's move everybody. So let's split D-Wing up. And let's generally move everyone around the jail. So you've got SOs on wings with staff they don't know. You've got people who did fantastic jobs. The visits always got panned as being a lazy job, visit staff. Pre-March the 1st, 2015, they had their own group of staff. They knew what they were doing and they were good at it. It was a shit shift pattern, visits. They did a lot of late shifts because obviously visits, apart from legal visits in the morning, were all in the afternoon. Shifts were rubbish, but the staff were really good. And they split them all up. So we've moved all the prisoners about. We've moved all the staff about. We've now got more staff than we need. Yeah, and from day one, that very day, most of the jail was locked down. Yeah, and here's what happens. Prisoners at that time were used to a prison that was pretty well run, good staff-prisoner relationships. And it was chaos. It was fucking chaos. Absolute chaos. I'll give you, for example, very early on, I was still on the healthcare. Oh, I forgot to mention the healthcare. Yeah, we got new staff on there. Healthcare is a position, like the segregation, where you should be interviewed for suitability. They bypassed all them procedures that were written up. Yeah, got dumped with a load of staff, and guess what? They were all fucking lazy asses. They really were lazy. Can't be doing with lazy people, me, especially in a job like that. So it's chaos. I was on visits one day. This is the best example. And the other thing is, because prisoners had been used to what was reasonably settled jail, well run, great regime and stuff like that, they got frustrated and angry. And who are they going to take it out on? The staff. Yeah? There was a lot of confrontation. I was in a lot of confrontation that last 6 months in my job. Because, you know, I have got some bottle. I'm not Billy Ten Men, but if I see someone being threatened, a member of staff, by a couple of prisoners, you're going to intervene. Lots of staff ignored the fact, ignored the aggression, let things pass. You need some discipline for safety of the staff and the prisoners in a prison. So I'm on visits, running. Yeah, that means I pick prisoners up. I was doing the bottom jail. Yeah, so it gets to 4 o'clock and I'm going on D-Wing. Could have been any wing. The visits I were picking up, let me explain visits. What happened at Strangeways, you'd pick, if someone had a 2 o'clock visit, you'd get them over to the visit for 2 o'clock. Their loved ones had a time to the minute to be at the jail and present themselves. If they were a minute late, they get knocked back on the visit. Yeah, so for a 2 o'clock visit, their loved ones would be there. You take the prisoner at 2 o'clock, and at 2 o'clock, both would meet in the visits hall, there or thereabouts. So this day I'm on D-Wing at 4 o'clock, picking up the 3 o'clock visits. It's an hour late. Here's the thing, so their loved ones, kids, whatever, have been in the jail an hour. There was no holding area, you know, seating area or whatever. But on D-Wing, the 3 o'clock visits were waiting, I won't say patiently, because they weren't. they were frustrated and angry. Yeah, and they vented that at me. Yeah, but the 4 o'clock visits, it's 4 o'clock now, we're there waiting. So there's a big mass of lads, yeah, all fucking giving it me, threatening me, kicking off, aggression, yeah. So I explained the situation best I could. I said, do you think I honestly want to be coming on here and all you lads kicking off, threatening me and other, you know, it's chaos. You need to complain. Anyway, I asked a member of staff of D-Wing whether he would come with me or to visits. In a Cat A jail, radio, you ask permission to move, and I could only move 8 prisoners at once. The member of staff who was doing fuck all, chatting to another member of staff, said, not my job. Yeah, I hate people that do that as well. Anyway, when I gets over to visits, there's about 8 staff stood around chatting. A lass behind the counter says to me, you've got some prisoners to go back. Yeah, there was about 40 or 50. Me on my own, I've already told you I can move 8 at once. I says, can I have some help? No, you'll have to do it on your own. I went over to the visits room, yeah? I opened the door so everyone could hear, everyone who was stood around. I said, right lads, who's bottom jail? Whoa, 40 or 50 prisoners, all pissed off. Some of them have been there 2 hours waiting to go back to the wing. You would try and get people after their visit back to the wing as soon as possible. Used to do mass movement, so 4 to 5 staff could take 40 prisoners. I said, see all these lazy, I won't use the word I used, it was the C word, stood here, no one's going to help me. You lads, I've got to move you all back myself, yeah, 8 at a time. So they all started kicking off. Anyway, bit of peer pressure from the prisoners. Reluctantly, the staff helped me, but that's what it was like. Every day was like that. Oscar One's shift manager. Remember speaking to one of the shift managers, every day, first job, list of staff on duty, 20, 25, sometimes 30 staff short to run the jail. 30 staff, yeah? Benchmarking. Workforce modernisation, yeah? That was the end of the job as I knew it. So could I have gone back after my period of sickness? I don't think my mental health would have stood it, and it wasn't the same job. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to vlog every day this week. Missy's kicking me out of the house. My hopes for the channel are to vlog, do interviews, 4 lots of content a week. It's been a bit crazy this last 2 months. I'm getting back to it. There are people I need to interview. And for people who support me on Patreon, I'm going to do some live question and answers. Everyone who supported me, people on Patreon, buy me a brew, very much appreciated. Parting shot, as always. There we go, kid. There we go. Thanks for coming. I'll see you.